Come on, Paul Reed, finish that.
What?
Let's get it. This is Eternal Underground Production. Shout out in the zone, baby. I know what it is, man. You're now tuned in to the Hodge Podge Sports Show with a picks on target sharper than Katniss Everdeen with a crossbow. Before you place the bet, better check with Patrick and Sean first. Unless your aim is that, holler your buys. Check the store right here. Forget the mother stations, we got you covered. Don't waste your time. Ain't no need to straddle the fence. Now you can take a side with competition where you think a gazelle can take a line. If you in opposition, just listen. It will change your mind. Before you catch him right here. And every show a banger like Ray Lewis at the quarterback. Got open forms, you got a topic, or will it trust and God? But don't come on here talking that nonsense and don't know nothing. No hesitation, get put in your place. End the discussion. Ain't no sugarcoating over here, keep it 100. Got a question, we gon' come with the answer like Irishman. If you ain't know then, you know now just who time it is. Sean, reppin' the city of brotherly love. Philly stand up, Super Bowl 52 champions. Baltimore in the building. Make some noise for his pack. Got Charm City on his back. Putting on for the like Cal Ripken Jr. back with the Orioles. Any sport we bound to die. Let's go. This knowledge for me, college skill to follow us. Shout out to you. Without you, this ain't possible. You rock with us, we rock with you. I love us, I love for you. Much love to the fan base and follow the fan page. It's deeper than sports talk. It's something like family. Ever and be more. Best get you a crab cake. Oh, you in Philly, say less. Grab you a cheesecake. Now run and tell the sports fanatics that you know online. www.ngscsports.com. Yeah. Let me say that again one more time. That's www.ngscsports.com. Woo! Yeah. Y'all know what time it is, man. HPS time it is. Let's get it. Let's get it. You're tuned in. Support reach. Cause sports breed passion. Ain't no better place to let it out than NGSC Sports, where we never stop.
What is going on? Everybody out there in the world. My name is Sean James Harrison, and to my left, or maybe to my right, I'm not sure which way I'm on your screen, but I'm going to say to my left is my main man, Patrick Hodge. How are you doing tonight, Ma?
I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
I'm living the dream, As Patrick just put in the message board, there is going to be no phone line tonight. If you want to join us, you can join us right down to my right in these chat rooms. I will be reading off comments as we go, as will Patrick. We will get to as many as you as we can and answer all the questions that we can in a timely fashion, hopefully. I also want to let everybody know the reason we're not having phone lines and the reason that we don't have phone lines sometimes is when me and Patrick feel like we have a topic that we're going to just ramble on about or just keep talking about. We don't want people on the phone lines calling in and just sitting there on hold and not getting a word in and just listening to us. While we love you guys for doing that, it's not fair to you guys to have to do that. And it's, not fair to us that we have to keep looking over and checking on it to see who's calling in and have to pay attention to it if we know we're just going to keep having it back and forth. As you can see below, I'm not going to do any other kind of introduction. I'm not going to tell you what the rest of the show is below about, but if you can't read what it says right down there, my man's got some stuff to get off his chest about this.
I do.
I'm going to pass the mic to him. I'm going to let him ride with it. And when he's done, I'll say my piece. But
all right, sounds good. It sounds good to me. Let's do it. Hodge Podge Sports Show is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website, arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app. Pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? Ooh, boy, we place this order with a spice of salty, with a side of double salt on top of it, because there's a big topic this week about Tim Tebow trying out for the Jaguars and then eventually signing a contract with the Jaguars. And everybody was making a big deal about this, and then they had a direct correlation to Colin Kaepernick not getting an opportunity. So my ire or point of contention is not about Tim Tebow getting an opportunity and Kaepernick not getting one. Simply because there's been plenty of other athletes out there that have not gotten an opportunity, and I don't think the situations are comparable down to the bare bones of it. But you can make a comparison that one did get an opportunity, another one didn't. You can bring privilege into it if you want to, or you can take the lighter, higher road of privilege and say it's who you know, right? So I'll say this, right? It just like this, and I say this to you all the time, right? Ray Rice never got a tryout from anyone after his situation. Never. Didn't even get a workout. Des Bryant sat out there for how long before he got signed, right? I mean, you can think of some other athletes out there that could probably play, that are just sitting out there that haven't gotten other opportunities for whatever reason, age, whatever, right? So it's just here it is. My problem with this is that thinking that Tebow is going to be some type of difference maker, thinking that he's going to be some type of important player, thinking that he's going to come in at age, what is he, 33, 34 now? Never really played any other position besides a running quarterback in college, right? He has a playoff win. You know, Josh McDaniels ruined this guy's career by drafting him in the first round the way that he did. And, you know, maybe he didn't get a fair shake, maybe he didn't, but he never improved. He was never an NFL level quarterback, right? The position that he signed to play is probably where he should have came out and played, and he could have made a mark. To make this man to be some superior athlete, he's not a Deion Sanders. He's not a Bo Jackson. Okay? He's not a Brian Jordan. Okay? These are all guys that played two sports, right? For some of y'all that don't know who Brian Jordan is, Brian Jordan played football and played baseball for the Braves, right? You know, we go deep here sometimes.
Educate them.
Right. And, you know, there's one member of our group, one founding member of our group, you know, that has a strong opinion on this and says that this guy's going to come in, he's going to be better than the average tight end. So without looking up numbers, because, you know, I don't do the number thing, I really just got to ask, what's an average tight end, right? So if you just had to throw out a name for a tight end that's average, who would you come up with?
Howard.
Okay. So let me ask you this, right? You think Tim Tebow is going to come in at this point in his life and be better than Dallas Goedert?
No.
Do you think he's going to be better than, say, a Kyle Rudolph?
No.
Do you think he's going to be better than Jordan Reed with concussions?
Nope.
I mean, those are some average tight ends, right? For right now, and Dallas Goedert just average because he's still young. So I just wonder, Mr. Wilson, what tight ends is he going to be better at? And what gives you the reason to think that this man is some physical specimen that he's not? He's not. He left the NFL. He sat out. He did broadcasting. He got married. You know, he did some beautiful things. He's a great commentator and things like that. He had a minor league baseball career where he didn't even make it to AAA in minor league baseball. So, again, it's not knocking Tim Tebow. It's just knocking the fact that we think that he's going to come in and compete at the highest level and be better than the average person at that position, a position he's never played, right? You know, maybe he tried it with the Eagles, as they say, right? But, like, he has never been a tight end. You know, remember, Sean, they wanted him to be a halfback. They wanted him to be a tight end, you know, when he came out, and he didn't want to do that. And, you know, he's getting a chance. And listen, again, you know, I'm not debating whether it's privilege or whether it's who you know, because to me, they're kind of synonymous, right? Because to get privilege, you have to know somebody, or you have to, you know, somebody, right? As they say. Listen, if he makes the team, great. If he contributes, great. If he does end up putting up some all-world stats where he's better than the average tight end, than the average Joe, I'll come right out and say I was wrong. But for you to get up on your soapbox and declare that this man is going to just instantly come in and be better than the average tight end, and then have the audacity to say that he runs a 4.40? And did you see his workout tapes? You know, when's the last time? What tape do we have? What tape are you watching? What do we have to compare him to? It's like you said, you saw a video posted, look like a fat guy running 3-yard routes, right? Because that's exactly what it's going to be. And let me take it a step further, and then I'll give it back to you. We talk about the great presence that he's going to be in the locker room. Well, he got ran out of NFL because of the presence that he brought to the locker room. So what great presence is he going to have? Talk to me about that. Who's he leading, right? So, I mean, he played college ball with criminals, man.
Nick Meter, to answer your question, Toby Wilson, one of the founding members of our group, said that he's going to be better than your average tight end.
That's your buddy.
And whether he said it or not, the fact that he's being signed to play tight end, and you think he's going to be viable at any sort, get any kind of snaps. It's honestly, it's kind of pathetic. He's 33 years old, right? And he doesn't run a 4.4. He runs a 4.71, and that's not, you know, speed. That's Aaron Rodgers' speed, and nobody ever saw Aaron Rodgers run and go, dang, he's fast. They say, okay, he's quick. He's got a quick first step. He's agile. Is Tim Tebow agile to anybody? I don't think so. There's nothing that Tim Tebow did as a quarterback that made me think that Tim Tebow can play a different position outside of Waterboy, maybe. I'm sorry. I never understood the infatuation with Tim Tebow when he came into the league as a quarterback, because I think he should, if he wanted to do this route, he should have did it way earlier in his career, not be a little Make-A-Wish Foundation kid to say, I'm going to be a pro football player. Oh, no, wait, no, now I want to be an announcer. No, wait, no, now I want to be a baseball player. Oh, wait, no, I want to play a tight end now. And everything kind of just gets handed to him, right? Like that's kind of where my problem is with it, is that this kid is the epitome of privilege. And that's what irritates me, I think, more than anything. It's, and you don't want to say it, but I will. I don't care.
No, it's all good. Listen.
You can you can find my Facebook below to message me. I don't care. I'll take all they smoke.
When we look at the dynamic, it's a lot better if it comes from you than it does from me.
That's right? Fine. Listen, I will openly say it. I don't care.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to say. Listen, this is the ultimate form of privilege. This guy has gotten to play. Nick, you got something to say? You can hit my number. You can hit me right on there, and I'll talk to you privately. If you don't think this is privilege and you're blind. Period. The end. And I'll tell you it's privilege without even bringing up Kaepernick's name. You're going to tell me that a 33-year-old that runs a 4.71 is going to be a better tight end for you than a Des Bryant? Now, come on, you want to have a back and forth? Please feel free to have a back and forth with me. Tim Tebow is 33 years old and ran a 4.71 when he came out. We don't know what he runs now. He could be a lot slower. He's gotten everything handed to him his entire life. Period. The end. There's no debate about that. Now his old college coach is a head coach in the NFL, and what's the first thing he does? His biggest move so far, he signs Tim Tebow. For what reason other than help his buddy out? If you can't see that's privilege. Period. The end. The reason you could. I have two. I have two viewers, and you have not. So
and there we go. There's a reason why he's not a member of HPS, among other things, right? But it's cool. Yeah. See, now I kind of wish we did have the phone line open. So my point is this, right?
If we had it open, he wouldn't call in anyway.
Yeah,
so what does it matter?
I know.
Like, people are afraid to have this topic because they think they're above it. They think lived their life blind forever. Because
they don't want to. They don't want to evolve. They don't want to have the conversation about it. It's clear as day what it is, right? And that's why I said I wasn't touching it, because it was just clear. But again, I back you up on what you said. I agree wholeheartedly. Again, it's just for our dynamic or our demographic, it's a lot better coming from your mouth than it is mine, because then that takes away oh, he's playing that card, right? So the problem I have is the fact that he adamantly refused to be open-minded about playing tight end when he came out. Stayed out of the game for how long? Because he didn't want to play tight end. Now all of a sudden he gets an opportunity to play a position he didn't want to play at the highest professional level. Wow. If he was open-minded from the beginning, I would have no issue. I'm not doubting his talent, but at best he's going to be bottom half of tight ends. See,
do we know who said that?
I don't know who said that. It just has Facebook user. I have an idea of who said it, but I don't want to say who it is without confirming.
I know who said it.
Yeah.
It was you, Quidon Henderson.
Oh, okay. Okay. That would have been wrong then. So I'm glad I didn't throw a name out there. So here's my thing. I think in situations like this, when you sign a player like this, you're not doing him any favors, first of all, because of the way that he exited the league, right? Like I said, right? They weren't ready for his beliefs in the locker room. They weren't ready for a Christian guy to be so popular. And that's so who's he leading? Like how is he going to make a difference in the locker room? So that's another question I have, right? Because he apparently did not make a difference in the locker room before, because he was not very well liked because of the attention he brought. And that's not his fault. That's the other individual's fault, right? Because you cannot not like someone because of their religious beliefs or what have you, right? But he knelt, he prayed, but no one said anything, right? You see the parallels, right, and the contrast. So, so what I'm trying to say is, I think that is something like that. I think you should say that you're bringing him in for a tryout, right, and then you just ease that in. But just to sign him to a contract, like, oh, we're signing him as a tight end, make this big deal out of it for somebody. He was a never was, right? Like, we can't even call him a has-been, because he never was anything on the NFL level. Hey, great college quarterback, no question, right? But college is not the pros. There's a lot of great college quarterbacks that don't make it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're still in the top percentage of all athletes in the world. And listen, putting down a 4.7 at 33, 34 years of age, that's nothing to sniff at. But again, when you're talking about being better than the average tight end in the NFL, and then yeah, we got to call that out. But on the surface, if he's still putting in a 4.7 at 33, 34, okay, that might play. But I'm simply going right at you in your comments that you said, about how he's this great athlete. Where, when, why, how, who? You know what I mean? And as far as Nick Meter goes, that's just comical. And that's just the issue that we have with some of these things today, that people want to automatically latch onto a phrase or a word and not expand on it. And you have the form, right? You can type whatever you want, but you choose to take a shot at us for whatever reason. That's fine. I mean, that's really fine. We keep grinding, we keep moving. If it's 2, if it's 3, if it's 4, if it's 5, it really doesn't matter to us, because then you have no clue why we show up on Saturdays or Sunday night to do what we do.
We don't do it. We don't do it for Nick Meter. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, we don't do it for him. we do it because we said it before. This is therapy to us. We both are fathers, work full time. This is a Sunday thing where me and Patrick get to sit here, basically shoot the shit, like just two normal ass guys. He lives in Maryland. I live in PA. We became close friends because of this. So I don't do this for Nick Meter. Q, I love you, man. I don't do it for you. Brian Jones, I love you. I don't do it for you. I do it for the man to my left because I enjoy talking to him on Sundays.
There it is.
But also, I want to touch on something that Q said real quick, because he said, I want to reread what he said again. The problem I have is the fact that he adamantly refused. Again, I'm going to say that again. He adamantly refused to come out. And again, this is what I said. If he would have did this earlier in his career, it might have worked. But because he adamantly refused, like Q said, to do it when he came out, then he stayed out of the game for so long. I'm sorry, You said he stayed out of the game for how long? Because he didn't want to play tight end. Again, this is me saying when he first found out that he wasn't going to make it as a quarterback, switch then. You were still 28, 27 at the time. You could have had a 4, 5, 6-year career as a tight end in the NFL where nobody would have batted an eyelash to change the position. It would have been just like Terrell Pryor being told to go from quarterback to wide receiver or anything else, and nobody would have batted an eyelash. But the fact that that you are now 33 and you're now getting the chance to do it at the highest level because of your old college coach is now the head coach, Brian Jones. Great question. What kind of message are you sending the team by doing this? It's a bad one, and that's what I like. I think that was Q again, the Facebook user above, saying Urban Meyer's going to lose the locker room if Chibo makes so much noise in the I agree, and it's that's the thing that I think people are missing here is that Urban Meyer, this is his first year as a head coach in the NFL. We've seen great college coaches come to the NFL and not make it. I mean, you can go right to Alabama and see one that came to the NFL, had a flame out and went right, had to go right, take his tail between his leg and go right back. I mean, it's not we had one right here in Philly called Chip Kelly, if y'all forgot. This happens all the time. Big name college coaches rarely work out in the NFL, and that's the way it is. Usually it's a smaller name college coaches from Matt Rules. That guy didn't really have to go to it, but he didn't coach at Oklahoma, an Alabama. He didn't coach at a big place. Usually those big name college coaches that come out of those big colleges usually don't last in the NFL because they're so catered to them in college. Mm-hmm. And also that NFL money for those big name colleges, that NFL money isn't the same as that college money. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll let y'all connect the dots there. But that money just doesn't. That money's not equal when you get to the NFL. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Y'all can read between the lines if you want to on that one. Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's my biggest beef is that people just don't understand. People are just refusing to see the privilege behind it. And I told you when it first went up that I'm not going to allow people to tell lies. I refuse to do it. I don't want people telling lies. If you want to have a conversation, the night I texted that to you, I had 3 or 4 conversations with 3 or 4 different people. One of them was civil, where it was a nice back and forth where we had a civil disagreement on something, but we had a civil back and forth where at the end of it, we both just said agree to disagree, and we walked away from the conversation. That is okay to do in life. You are allowed, but if you're not open to the conversations and you don't want to be open to the conversations, then I don't want to. Then I don't know what to do for you. I'm sorry, I don't. Brian Jones comments in. This doesn't remind me of Kelly or Saban. This smacks of Steve Spurrier. Urban thinks he's better and smarter than everyone. And listen, man, Chip Kelly thought he was better and smarter than everyone in the room too. I mean, you might be right. I do agree with the Steve Spurrier, but Chip Kelly thought he was better and smarter than everybody in the room too.
But there's a difference, right? There's a difference between the way Spurrier handled it and the way Chip Kelly did. Chip Kelly thought he was smarter than everybody else because he kind of was. And what he brought to the league, people are still doing, right? Like he brought all that sports science, that sports technology, witty, and teams took that and ran with it. I understand exactly where Brian Jones is coming from, especially being from where I'm from. When Steve Spurrier came and took over the Redskins, he's changed everything. He changed the training camp that used to be up in our hometown when we grew up at. And remember, this guy wasn't taking anything serious. Remember, he was out there golfing. Right? He wasn't putting in the hours that all these other coaches, stuff like that was. And not if I don't want to speak for Brian, but I think that's more or less where he's coming from in that comparison. And to me, that is spot on. That is a really great comparison. And Urban Meyer has a chance to prove us all wrong in this facet, right? I think we know he can coach. We're not going to say that he can't coach because he can coach, right? Whether he can do it on an NFL level remains to be seen, and everybody gets that slate to try and prove themselves. Some make it, some don't. It doesn't mean that he can't coach. This might have been the NFL might not have been a good fit for him and what he wants to do. I think the biggest thing for him is that he's really in a no-lose situation, right? Jacksonville's horrible, right? If they come in and if they're just as bad this year is last year. It ain't nothing because first year rookie quarterback, just getting things underway. You know, just
They're
getting the
expecting
team.
to be this year.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So like he's definitely in a no lose situation, right? Unless he just does something stupid, right? That we just can't come back from, right? You know, like he did in Florida. He did like he did in Florida, like he did at Ohio State. You know what I mean? Right, right. You know, so you know, I think the biggest factor for him was probably his health, right? Just making sure that he can physically handle the rigors of the job, right? That's what caused him to step away. Um, you know, from college football, kind of like how Michael Jordan retired to go play baseball. Not that he was forced to retire from his gambling, you know, one of those myths. Um, you know, thank you, Brian, and thank you, Q. We will keep up the good work, man. And we listen. we're like that hit album, right? You know, when you're a good DJ and you go in, you don't want to play the title track. You want to find that banger on that album that's gonna come out later and everybody's gonna be. This is how we approach this, right? If you ever look at the description of the show, I always say in there, you know, two dudes keeping you entertained, giving you our spin, because our spin is always different than the media's and then what everybody else does, and that's fine, and that's the way it should be. Now, what we talk about privately runs more along the lines of what you guys will talk about, but then when we bring our finished product here, we just like to talk about the way that we see it through our eyes. We don't claim to be right. We don't claim to be wrong. We just claim to be different. And that's what this is all about for us in that regard, right? And, you know, we try to advance. We try to use our platform to do a lot of different things because there's a lot of things. If you guys ever really pay attention to some of the things that we do talk about and we don't talk about, you kind of understand where we come from on this, right? We won't touch the domestic violence because that's just too brutally honest and too deep for us to get into, because I always say to Sean that the victim is always left out. There's a reason why we haven't gotten into Deshaun Watson on the show. There's a reason why we stay away from certain things, you know, that this or that, but the things that can make a difference, we're going to touch on. We're not going to be afraid to allow you to talk about it on our group page, as long as you can keep it civil. And we're not going to be afraid to talk about it on this platform because we have that backing from NGSC Sports, and we're two grown-ass men that can defend our positions any way that we see fit and any way that we want to. But what we won't allow you to do is just be a troll, right? We just not in this format, not when we're absolutely trying to give you your voice to share your opinion on why, but we're not going to allow you to troll. Not in our group, not on our show. Many have tried and they've all failed. You just can't go against two headstrong guys like that and think that's going to be okay. You know, but again, I do want to go back to what Brian and Q said. I like both of their things. What kind of message does it send? Not only what kind of message does it send to Jacksonville, but what kind of message does it send to other athletes out there that are sitting there waiting to get a shot that hasn't gotten a shot? What about these guys that have been loyal to organizations, you know, that have played with this coach or, you know, develop relationships here or there, and they're not getting that call for a tryout? What message does it send to them? You know, if you look at some of the messages that the athletes tweeted out, like Des Bryant, like, look, this is why we all need to stick together. You know, it's not about privilege. It's about deepening those relationships and making sure that we're taking care of one another at all times, so that way we all can get a shot, right? That I can't say anything more than that, because that's what it is. It's deepening those relationships. But there's been plenty of other players, and it doesn't even have to be NFL. I mean, you know, there's this, you know, look at who is it, like LeBron, right? LeBron likes to have a certain type of player, and if you're one of his guys, he's gonna bring you with him. Like Mike Miller was able to go wherever LeBron went because he liked them and they were good friends, right? You know, there's been situations like that in other places, right? There's been players that have just gone from team to team just to be with a coach or whatever. But yeah, this reeks of privilege. This reeks of who you know. Well, you know, I mean, like how do you justify? Like, you mean to tell me there wasn't an undrafted tight end that you couldn't assign to that spot? There wasn't a kid. There wasn't a kid. There wasn't a kid. There wasn't a kid you could have drafted.
That's literally what I was about to ask you. Like, how many undrafted tight ends went through? I would have rather taken a shot on a 22-year-old that I controlled for 4 years than a 33-year-old who's going to be in a wheelchair in 2 years. That's messed up. You know, some people all of us are at that age past it. You know what I mean? Like my man's gonna, you know what I mean? But like let's be real. Like you showed me a 33-year-old tight end that's as productive as a 22-year-old tight end. I'll give you my car right now.
I'll tell you what, man. Listen, I posted an article, right, and it was Deion Sanders said there was not one kid drafted this year from the HBCU. You mean to tell me you couldn't go find a tight end in one of those HBCUs? Again, it's not playing the card. I mean, listen, we can look at I call it Division II, you call it Division III, they call it FCS or whatever it is, not FBS and all that nonsense. You mean to tell me you couldn't find somebody from one of those? So that's where the relationship, that's where the privilege comes into play. They could have signed. They could have signed Kyle Rudolph for Jared Cook off the open market. That's exactly what I said. They could have talked Jordan Reed out of retirement. They could have made the trade for one of these lower end tight ends. You know what I mean? Like, listen, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
The Eagles are actively trying to make that too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Going to be what it's going to be, right? So, Mr. Wilson, I've commented back to you in our group. I invited you here. It's cool. We'll rehash this later, man. But as we continue to move on, Hodge Podge Sports Show is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website, arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app. Pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? Man, I hope Arena Eats is going to start getting busy there with all these venues returning fans to the stadiums, man. Some people are going to be full capacity starting next month in MLB. Looks like the NBA is going to have some fans. NHL, the Stanley Cup's going to have fans. So good stuff, man.
Cool.
Right. Speaking of NBA, these guys clinched the #1 seed. And now I'm not to talk about this because all I heard was, wait till Brooklyn's big 3, 4, 5 get together. They're just going to run through the East and they're going to get the #1 seed. What didn't happen? For a multitude of reasons. One being that Philadelphia is the best team in the Eastern Conference. And if you need a #2 reason, just refer back to #1.
I got told that Brooklyn got bored, so there's that.
I mean, listen, it's gonna be all kinds of things, right? Listen, Vegas, everybody else has Brooklyn as the favorites to win the title. It's okay, that's fine. I mean, I guess when James Harden gets back, I think he's back, right? He played the other day, right? Then he played the other day.
He's on a minutes restriction.
Yeah, he's on a minutes restriction. Kyrie Irving's letting you know that basketball is not the most important thing to him right now. Other things that are going on in the world are more important. Nothing wrong with that. We've always known that with him, and it's good that he comes out and says it. KD is probably the best player in the league when fully healthy. There's no question in that, right? I mean, I think we could agree with that. I mean, dude, 7 foot, can score, can D up. Yeah, he's a matchup nightmare for anyone trying to guard him, for any team. But it's all going to play out. I'm happy for the Knicks, man. It's good to see the Knicks good, right? They got the 4 seed. It really is. There's just certain things that are good for sports, right? New York Knicks being good is one of them, right? That's good for the NBA. That's good for the league. We always known Julius Randle was a serious talent, and he just went up there, bought in, did his thing, and carrying that team. Are they going to make any noise? Who knows, man? Who knows who gets hot? The NBA is not like the NFL where a wild card team can get hot and go, because usually the talent trumps anything in a 7-game series. Or any given night in the NBA, anybody can win, but typically in the 7-game series, the better team is going to win, right?
Mhm.
Full staff, right? So, Wizards are locked in at 8. I don't know who's 9 and 10. Don't really care. So I guess so Sixers are 1, Brooklyn's 2, Milwaukee's 3, New York's 4, Miami's 5, right?
These are all official. I'm gonna double check this. The Nets are officially number 2 seed now. They could have moved. They could have dropped if they would have lost to the Cavs, but they beat the Cavs, so they don't have to worry about moving. They will stay in the number 2 seed. The Milwaukee Bucks will stay in the number 3 seed, even if they lose. So that game has now become meaningless for them. So I imagine if you're watching that game, be ready to turn that off, because I think Giannis, Middleton, Drew, that whole lineup is going to be coming out very soon. The Knicks are locked into the 4. I have to check that to see if the Knicks if the Hawks are playing.
The Knicks are locked in. The Knicks are locked in.
The Knicks are locked in to the 4 seed. The Hawks are the 5 seed. Sorry. What the hell just happened?
So that means Miami's 6.
Miami is 6. Boston is 7. What are you? The Wizards are 8.
Wizards are 8.
Pacers are 9. Charlotte is 10. And the interesting thing here is now, as the play-ins work, is 7 and 8 will play together, will play each other. The winner becomes the 7th seed. 9 and 10 will play each other. The winner plays the loser of 7 and 8 to become the 8th seed. So you could have a scenario here, and this is what I think is going to happen. This is my early prediction out of NASA. You can write it down, and you can pencil it in. The Wizards are going to beat Boston and go to the 7th seed. And then Charlotte will beat Indiana, and then Charlotte will beat Boston to be the 8th seed. So you will have Wizards at 7 and Charlotte at 8 to round out the playoffs. And the Charlotte Hornets will play the Sixers in the first round of the playoffs, with the Celtics on the outside looking in. And y'all can say what you want, but as we like to say out here in Sixerland, the straw that made our drink stir, being Benjamin Simmons, your straw that made your drink stir is out for the season. Without Jaylen Brown, y'all ain't got it. I'm sorry. You just don't. Jaylen Brown is too good, too valuable to that team, and you guys are just bad without him. I'm sorry. You're bad with him. You're worse without him. So I don't see it happening. I don't see a way that they're going to make it out and even get in the playoff. I think Charlotte is a very underrated team. Them not having Ball for that whole time hurt them. And he's playing back at that Rookie of the Year status. And it's going to be very interesting to see. As I wrote up underneath me, I have the NBA roundup underneath me. And since today is the last day of the season, and we just rounded up the East, I want now Patrick Hodge to tell me who your Rookie of the Year is.
Rookie of the Year. I like Ball from Charlotte.
I'm going Anthony Edwards. He's been healthy all year. Minnesota. Yep. Been healthy all year. Has been playing all year. Has played well all year. He can't help that to the team that he's on.
No, you can't. No.
I'm not gonna kill him for that. I'm going Anthony Edwards. You're going LaMelo Ball. Now, this is the one I really want to talk about, because I'm curious who you take here, because I think I have one that nobody's going to touch, except for I'm not going to say nothing. Coach of the Year.
Oh, for me, it's Doc. And there's a lot of reasons why, but I'm going to say I think that this one has a lot of contenders, and I don't think you go wrong in a lot of different ways.
I think
Nate McMillan should get a lot of consideration.
What I just tell you? I said don't say names, and you go and say names. You say the name that I'm gonna say on top of all of it.
I was just saying. But I think, what about Monte Ellis, man?
No, it's Nate McMillan. He went. He deserves it. That
I-
team was a dumpster fire.
You're
But
not
he was
going
a
to get
complete
an
dumpster
argument from me
fire.
on that.
And he took over the Atlanta Hawks and made them into a formidable team. You can argue that if he was the coach all year of that team, that they may have not been the 5 seed. They could have possibly propelled him in fighting for the 3 or the 2 seed because they weren't touching the Sixers. I mean, we know that already. But they could have at least contended to maybe be a 3 or 2 seed. McMillan has completely turned that entire team around. And I'm not like, do we count? I'm just curious. When we talk about Coach of the Year, do we count that in the same breath like we do the MVP, where they got to play the whole season? Because Nate McMillan didn't really coach the first 15 games or 20 games that season, and I'm still saying he's Coach of the Year. I'm just asking because that's the I've been told that there's criteria that I've never heard of before. Anyway, moving on to 6th man of the year.
I don't really know about that one. I don't really know who was that great coming off the bench for anybody this year that I can think off the top of my head. I want to say the kid down in Charlotte, but I think he started. The Bridges kid, I think he was a starter.
I mean, I think there's one clear cut, and Jordan Clarkson.
Oh,
I'm about to say that one must have just went over your head, and you must have thought about it.
Whoa, and that's a shame because he was on our fantasy team and he brought us a championship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you gonna forget about Jordan Clarkson, but I mean, I feel like there's no way he loses it.
No, you're right. But I'm thinking he started so much down the end that I wasn't thinking of him as a 6th man because of Mitchell getting hurt. He started, so that's kind of why I went that route. Yeah, no doubt, no question. Yeah, him. You know what I mean? Hey, without him, we're not champs. Mm-hmm. That was our best move.
Executive of the year.
Daryl Morey.
I don't want to be a homer. I don't. I swear to you, I don't. But I think my last 3 are all going to be Sixers. So screw it. Hate me if you want. You guys got my Facebook. Hit me on there. I agree. It's Daryl Morey. This team was easy. People forget this was a 6th place team last year with bad contracts on it. Bad contracts on it. Like you're talking Al Horford, Josh Richardson, blah, 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 blah. There was another one. I'm losing it. Al Horford, Josh Richardson. Oh my God. There was another one. I can't think of it now. But we traded Al Horford, got great value in return for Danny Green. We signed it. He signed Seth Curry. I mean, this team's done a complete 180, and now they're in first place. I think we're going to agree on this one. Defensive Player of the Year.
Ben Simmons, all day.
And I think it's not even a question. It's Ben Simmons. I agree. And I'm going to say that this is not a disrespect to Rudy Gobert, but I think Ben Simmons said it very well, is I guard 5 positions.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think Gobert second. I think you go to Ben Simmons' teammate. They get the second. They get their runner up. That's just me.
You talking Matisse Thybulle? Or are you talking Joel Embiid?
I'm talking Embiid.
The Sixers are in a unique situation, and I brought this up to a buddy I work with, to where they're going to have possibly 4 players going all defense this year. 4. They're going to have Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Matisse Thybulle all on all defensive teams this year, and Danny Green might get one as well.
He might get one.
So this is special. It was a special team. Yeah. Last one, and this is the most debated one, and it's going to be continuously debated. MVP. Man, I love you. I said it, man. He has played. You can tell him, say all you want. He's missed 21 games this year. He's missed 21 games this year, okay? And I don't care about the 21 games he's missed. You want to know why? Because in those 21 games, he's done more than Jokic has done on offense and on defense. I've broke this down multiple times. Jokic is a better passer than Joel Embiid. That's unquestionable. I will never, ever say otherwise. But is he a better rebounder? Is he a better shooter? Is he a better defender? When you say no to all three of those things, how is he MVP? Because he played on a 3 seed in the West. I agree. I would go MVP, but I know they're going to give it to Jokic. So
I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake to give it to him. He's not better. He's not. He's not a better player. I just watched him the other night. He couldn't finish the game. He's not a finisher. If you're going to say he's a better passer, so be it. But he does not make an impact on both ends of the floor. And when we have these conversations and when people want to discredit someone else, they always talk about impact. What impact do they have? No one makes a better or bigger impact in the game than Joel Embiid. Listen, if he doesn't win the MVP, it's LeBron James' fault. That's all I'm going to say. And for anybody who doesn't understand that comment, you just need to go look up what he did.
So
you're laughing because you know I'm right.
I just brought this up to Logan the other day. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. I said to Logan. Logan was like, LeBron's not a good defender. And I was like, no, Logan. LeBron was a very good defender. LeBron was on first team all defense and lost defensive player of the year to a guy that was on second team all defense. Logan looked at me and went, how's that even possible? And I was like, exactly. So this is why LeBron doesn't care anymore about trying to win that award. I was showing him the defensive player of the year because I was telling him how good the 2001 Sixers were. And I was like, man, I was rattling off all the awards they won. And I was like, I think they might do it again this year with all these awards. And that's how that happened. So, so I was like, so Logan, this is what I'm saying. So if they give Jokic MVP this year and Joel's first team all NBA, how does that make sense? Because first team all NBA means you're the best all around player at that position, correct? For the entire year, correct? And if we're going to sit here and debate, like I said, I will tell you all day, Jokic is a better passer than Joel Embiid. I will tell you that he's better. That's fine. But in every other facet of the game, Joel Embiid is better. So that makes him the best center in the league, meaning he should be in that number one spot.
Listen, when you have the discussion on who's the best big, no one's saying Jokic is the best big. Everybody says it's Joe, and then it's Jokic, right? The conversation ends right there. If we're going to put anybody else elevated into that conversation, it should be Chris Paul. And this guy right here.
That's Dame, dude.
That guy right there gets mentioned too. But listen, I've been a critic of Chris Paul, right? But there's no denying what he did to that team and what he's done in previous stops. That he's in that conversation. He is absolutely in that conversation. He's in the top 3. You can move that top 3 around any way you want. He's in there. He has to be in there, man. And listen, you can't forget about the reigning MVP either. Like, he did his thing coming down the stretch too. Giannis did his thing coming down the stretch. He did. But I think, I don't know, man. I think you want to penalize someone for being injured or missing games to no fault of their own, right? I mean, they had to miss games due to COVID. He had to miss games because he got cheap shot. And he had to miss a couple games because he landed awkward, right? So the one thing I'll say about these 21 missed games is that at least it wasn't the recurring injuries from before, right? The knee, the back, these were legitimate things that happened. You know what I'm saying? And again, like he said, if I don't win it, it's okay. Me missing these games means I'm more rested for the playoffs, and that's really what it's about for me. Trying to win the playoffs. I'm gonna say this to you. I don't know how far they're gonna go, but he's gonna carry them as far as they go. and you are going to see, along with everyone else, why he is one of the best players in the league, and that's where he's at. We already know he's the best center, but now we're talking about he is one of the best players in the league, and I'm telling you, from my lips to God's ears, and anybody else out there's listening, he is going to show us in the playoffs how good he really is.
Patrick,
Mark
I
my
hope you're
words.
right. You're right, but
Listen,
I want to tell you this, man. I think
trust me
if you
on
were
this
to
one.
put up on, I think you were to put up on HPS right now, and you were to type it up just like this: who is the best big in the league? And made just two choices, Jokic or Embiid. I guarantee you, people are going to pick Jokic. A lot of them, and it'll be a lot closer than you think it is.
I know it'd be a lot closer than I think it is, but that's only because of who we are, and not who they are, and that's because they know our rooted interest, and we have a lot of Philly fans that come into the group and that are passionate about that. So that's why we do have a couple people that live out in Denver. We do have a couple people that live out that way, that I know for a fact that are legitimate Denver Nugget fans. But yeah, that's more. I can put that into an anonymous group, and I guarantee you it would be a landslide. But yes, in our group, it would be 50-50, 51-49, something like that. Because I see it all the time.
Patrick,
And the only thing they can say is, well, he's a better passer. Yeah. That's the only thing they can say.
Patrick, here's my question to you now with us having about 8 to 9 minutes left on the show tonight.
Sure.
You got two teams got to play in the finals here. You need one from the West, one from the East. Who are you taking from the West? No, I don't want to talk about the East.
Okay.
Who you taking from the West? Because I'm looking at the West and I see it wide open. I don't know who is coming out that West from 1 to 10. Any one of those teams could come out. I don't know. A healthy Laker that's a 7 sweet spot right now. Can Portland get hot again? Denver. I think Denver is the only one that can't do it because they don't have Murray, who is their real closer on that team. And I don't think Dallas can either, so I could take those two out. But the other 8, I could see going. You know, it's going to be. I can easily see Portland, Phoenix. Well, you say LA. Which one? Clippers or Lakers? Q. You gotta add that together. Are you Clipper Nation or what? I don't know what LA means. Gotta help me here. So, Patrick, who's coming out the West?
Let's do this by deduction. So you already knocked off Denver, because you say Jamal Murray is the real closer. So you already knocked off Dallas because, well, for whatever reason, you knocked off Dallas. You pretty much knocked off Portland because you're saying they have to get hot. So we're knocking off 3 of them. And you put the caveat, if the Lakers are healthy, then they can do it. So they're not really healthy. So we're not going to go with the defending champs. We're gonna take them out. I'm going to deduct Phoenix because of Chris Paul. He disappears in the playoffs. That's his history. That's just who he is. So that leaves me with either the Clippers or Utah. And you know how I feel about Utah. And if Donovan Mitchell is not 100%, then they really don't have a chance either, in my opinion. So by deduction, I'm going to go with the Clippers.
Interesting. I got to tell you, man, I love the way you just thought that all out in your head. It was awesome. It was awesome to go on that journey with you there. It's a lot of fun. But I'm going to go a completely different route because I said if the Lakers are healthy. Well, I don't go into anything assuming health.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go with the Lakers because I know that Lakers full strength are just better than every other team in the West because I saw this last year.
Yeah.
Right? Realistically, if you think about it logically, the Lakers got better on paper than they did last year, right?
Yeah.
You think about it.
They did.
So if you're telling me that Anthony Davis and LeBron James are going to be healthy, along with Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, then I am in no way going to pick the choke artist Clippers to ever win anything. I can't do that. I'm not trusting PG-13 to do anything. I'm not doing it. You want to talk about a guy that comes up small in the playoffs? Don't talk about CP3. Talk about PG-13. Comes up
Talk
small.
about playoff
Made a
team.
living off coming up small in the playoffs. He's made a living on getting game timed in the playoffs. I didn't say game time. I said dame time. If you didn't understand me the first time, I'm not picking the Clippers to do nothing. The dumbest thing Kawhi Leonard ever did was convince Paul George to go on out and come with him. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to play that game. That's not happening. And I think Utah's a bunch of frauds. So I'm not touching Utah either. So I think that once they play somebody, they're gonna collapse once they play.
I think they'll get to. I think they'll make it to the final. I think they'll make it to the conference final. I think they're better than everybody else they're going to run into to make it to the conference final.
I think they'll get out the first round
because they got the number one seed. So that was huge for them. The West is weak, man. The East is where it's at.
I can't say the West is weak if they win their first round.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to play the Lakers or Portland in the second round.
Listen, the way it's looking, right? I'm not sure. The Lakers could be 8.
That's fine. If they play the Lakers in the first round, guess what? They're losing in the first round.
It's a wrap. Yeah, they're going home. They're going home in 6.
You know what I'm saying? So I think Utah's a bunch of frauds. I do. You had a great year, a great regular season, Utah. Guess what, Utah? You've been having a great regular season since the 90s. Get used to it. You got a lot more great regular seasons coming your way.
They just don't have this, right? Like the way they reacted to some of the games during the year about calls and things like that. They're just, I don't know.
They're just not mature.
I don't want, me. It's very hard for me to go against the champs, right? Typically I always stick with that. And
I got you. I go against them.
Yeah, no, and I'm not upset at the Lakers at all. I just don't know if them being in a playoff tournament makes a difference, because again, you're not looking at a series. You're looking at one game, and anything can happen in one game.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
One game though. If you're the Lakers, you get 2 games to make the playoffs.
You get 2, but I'm saying, but it's still 2 1-game series though, right?
But here's the thing: is I got Phoenix or the Lakers coming out with Phoenix and the Lakers playing in the semis.
Phoenix and the Lakers, okay.
You'll have LeBron versus his buddy Chris Paul, and I think Chris Paul. The biggest problem with Phoenix is DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker are just too young still. They're just not quite there. So I got the Lakers coming out the West again, and we're gonna flip over to the East now. Come on, I'm not going against my Sixers. We're having a 2001 NBA rematch, and I'm gonna flip it here. In 2004, the Philadelphia Eagles played the New England Patriots and lost that Super Bowl. Just to rewind, or just to fast forward, and beat the same team they lost to win the Super Bowl. So the Sixers will do the same thing this year. In 2001, they lost to the Lakers 4-1. This year, the Sixers will beat the Lakers 4-1 with their dominant threesome. I don't know if I can say threesome on air. I don't even care. Of Tobias Harris, Benjamin Simmons, and one Joel Embiid. That's my finals prediction with my winner. Flip the script, Patrick. What's yours?
It's one of those times where I just feel like going against you just to go against you, but I can't. I want you just so we can have a wager. Like I want to say the Bucks just to mess with you, but I think it's the Sixers year. I really do. I think it's the Sixers year. I think they're built for this moment. I think they got all the right pieces from top to bottom. And when I mean top to bottom, I'm talking from your last player on the bench all the way up to the front office. I think they have got what it takes to win, and I think they're determined to win. I don't think it's a failure if they don't get there and win it. But here's the thing: the core of this team has tasted that defeat. They remember that bounce, They remember that Kawhi Leonard bounce. And then you got some guys that have won it, right? You got Danny Green, you've got Dwight Howard, so they know what it takes to get there. And you got a coach that knows. I think that's going to be the difference. I think they're going to come in hungrier than anyone else, and I think they're going to take it.
I hope you're right. With that, we're going to end broadcasting out of here. Hope you all have a wonderful evening, a wonderful night, and we'll catch you on the flip.